my parents, which isn't really conducive for working from home, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's all right. So what's going on with you?
Do you own multiple homes that you rent, or?
Well, the Happy Hollow, where Brian and I bought this a year ago, is where I stay when I'm here. I mean, but we rented out Airbnb. So I follow my travel schedule, and it's really perfect because it rents for a couple $100 a night and helps pay for the maintenance on a 60-year-old house.
Wow. So that's interesting.
So when I'm gone, I rent it out.
Interesting.
And
wow.
We knew we decided that was probably going to happen when we moved in. So I don't know. It's people get freaked out. They're like, you just leave your house. You just leave everything. And I was like, well, I have one closet that I keep locked that has all my checks and, identity theft type of things, but it's just stuff.
Yeah, that is something that we need to remember. And I remember we had kids would break stuff, and I've seen people get really upset when kids break things. And I'm like, I don't want anything in my house that I'm going to get upset if the kids break. I just said, Angie's like, I'm on board. So we never buy anything that is breakable that we're going to get upset if it's broken, because it's children, and they're going to break stuff whether they intend to do it or not.
Yeah, my boys are a little older now, and the only thing that I get overly excited about is just antique furniture because I like old stuff. But again, it's nothing my guests could really mess up. My bed's probably the most fragile thing in the house.
Right.
Like an old 1960s Greek key handmade wooden bed that really belongs in a guest room, not to be used. But other than that, I really don't care. And I wear my jewelry or I have it locked up. So Airbnb,
there has to be a piece of that. Like you say, okay, here's all the stuff, like, personal items that I don't want anybody to do, and you have either a safe or a closet.
Yeah, I have a closet for that. Mm-hmm. Basically it has Brian's paintball stuff in it, and I hide my car keys in my closet. So, but most people that stay Airbnb they're super respectful. I've not had any problems. I've had probably 20 guests this year.
And let's put it this way. It's not hard to track someone down who's given you a credit card.
Right.
To do these kind of things. Like I'm assuming Airbnb does a vetting process, so it's not like
verify.
I want to stay in your house.
Well, that can always tell. There's sometimes people are like, oh, we're here for a college something basketball camp or whatever. We want 14 girls. I'm like, no. I have 3 toilets on septic. I'm not having 14 kids stay in my house.
Yeah. 14 kids. That'll be $1,000 a night.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. Let's just remodel the bathroom.
You're aware, because you're going to be paying for this. I can work with that. It's $1,000 a night, because essentially you're renting out like every bedroom you have in your house.
Yeah, exactly.
I know Matt is not joining us this morning.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Okay, we were waiting on him.
He's on vacation, and
that's right.
He said basically, I'm going to be imbibing.
Good.
We had our Wednesday call, and I said, are we having a call? I'm thinking not, because I know you're on vacation. He says, yeah, I've been drinking. So he's been enjoying his week off.
Good.
Maybe I should not. I should be on the call on Saturday.
And the whole family is going to be asleep at this hour.
And he's going to be like,
yeah. Well, and he's up in the mountains. I don't know if there's any reception. I always worry about my cell coverage where he is. So, well, that's good. I'm glad he got a real vacation. This is good. So what do you have in mind, or you want to cut this kind of short, or would you want to walk through things, or what are you thinking?
Look, I'm excited to do what we're doing. I know that you had something prepared for last week. I think we should do it because it's a video.
Okay.
The whole idea for us is to create these video pieces for us and for us to do it. So what I'm going to propose is, if you're ready, we can do that. Also, I've been kind of sketching out the intro piece, and I'd like to do that one.
Okay.
And so
you want to run through that first, and Yeah, actually, I mean, I did have something prepared. I've tweaked it a little bit, and I've actually left it all set up because this was the camera angle with this morning light that worked.
Right.
But I'm not as prepared as you would think after having an extra week, but I can do it.
Well, here's my thought. And this is what I like about what we're doing is let's just do it.
Okay.
We'll tape it. We'll send it out to Matt.
Uh-huh.
Send it out to Natasha. I'm not sure. She was kind of in, kind of out. I don't know if this is just too early in the morning for her with kids. I think she'd bring a lot to the table if she decides to join us. But I just don't know where it seems a little. She's unclear what our mission is.
Got it.
Or she just didn't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So anything I say is a story. So I don't know where it stands is the best way of doing it. So if you want to, what I'm going to do is I kind of sketch this out. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think this is one of the things that I'd like us to work on is 3 places to shoot from.
Okay.
Where are you going to shoot from? So I was trying to pick a spot here. I'm a stander, so I'm standing right now. I don't know if this is too busy, but like I said,
it's not too busy, but the glare on your pictures are putting white spots on the faces.
Yeah.
So, that's the only thing that's a little distracting.
All right, let me tone it down here and see what happens.
And it's so funny you say that because I'm a stander too, and that's why I actually have books to set this underneath when I stand up. Because yeah, so I basically for me I step back.
Right.
So yeah, if that works.
I'm too dark in the face, but I do have an idea.
Okay.
Well, I might have to tweak that, but I'm thinking if I put a block there. You know what? I'll do this for now, but I'll take it as a note.
No, it's fine.
I'll take it as a note.
From a long-term standpoint.
Yeah, the glare is distracting. Like I said, but this is the thing I think we should work on because.
No, that's good because it's not anything that we would want to waste content time on, but it's very, very important that it works.
It is. Look, if you look at the stuff that Jack sends out, he takes his picture. Sometimes he's talking in front of his fireplace with his, kind of an outside view of, it looks like a very lush backyard. He's like, I'm talking to you about this. And those kind of pieces are important, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just, even if you decide to sit and have something a little bit staged so it looks nice. It doesn't have to be crazy. I like your background a little bit. Same kind of thing for you. If you look at your background, that there's a big sunny piece in the corner.
Yeah, I've got so much natural light in here. And last week it was overcast here. So
I kind of like that view, I think, better. I've seen that one before, and you're lit up better in that view.
Okay. It is going to depend on the light around here and what day it is and where it's, what's going on. Yeah. And if I stand
I like that view in the background. I think if you move it over a little bit, you had it with a little bit of lamp and that kind of thing.
Okay. I was trying to block the air return, but yeah, no, I can do that. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Well, I see what you're saying. Well, but these are like the little things that we should work on, right?
Well, that works.
I like the mirror. So maybe you move a little bit further. Go a little bit further. So the air return is on the.
Oh, okay, got it.
Keep going. A little bit further. Right, about half an inch further to. Yeah, half an inch further, just so the chandeliers right. Yeah, right there. That might not be a bad shot right there because it kind of gives you a feel. It's still a lot of white space up in the corner. Right, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of this is an interesting conversation to have, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. Is this what?
Yeah. So I think if you move over a little bit, if you talk from there, that fills the white space. That I think is workable.
Okay. I just need a little height here because.
Yeah, this is the challenge I had because I'm tall and everything. This is how I wanted to shoot it, and look what happens.
Yeah.
Right. So I've moved it closer so I can stand more like this.
Yeah.
And I have to have a mark. Like I have a mark.
Oh yeah.
So it's reminding me of this. All right. So you want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go first. And I'm going to turn this for right. Is this okay for right now? Or do you prefer the other one for recording?
I think just stay with that one right there, and we could think about the side, because it's
Yeah, and I'll play
nice
around
look,
with this a little too.
but that's a nice look. The background there, like you'll be able to tweak it, but those are the kind of things that's kind of interesting. You don't want too much white space.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you don't want to be too busy. I wasn't sure of pictures of my kids. It's all those little things that you put into it, and you don't have to overthink it. Find something even if you find one spot that you stage to be your video area.
Yeah, I was kind of playing with that last week, and then I realized I needed to stand, and that just changed everything.
Well, that's me. I know myself. I'm a talker. I'm like, like that's just the way that I am. So I might as well just go with that. All right. So I'm going to go first. I'll give this thing. So what I'm going to do, just so you know, for Pieces for Us recording, there is different views. It should be in the upper right-hand corner, I think, for you also.
Gallery view. Mm-hmm.
And what you do is we're going to hide it. There's a little minimize button.
Okay. You
see that we can hide this. What I'm going to do for the intro, though, is I would kind of like it for all of us to be on the call.
Okay.
It's kind of, I'm thinking of it as an intro for all of us.
Okay.
Right? But if you mute yourself, because I'll be I'll be front and center while I'm doing the intro, but I'd like everybody's faces to be in the picture, right? As I'm talking, it's sort of like our intro to everybody. So that's what I'm doing. So this is kind of the intro to our 7-week program. And it's just my first cut at it. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Hang on. Let me blow my nose, because that would be weird to do that in the middle. Okay. All right. All right, Joanne, you ready? Hello, my name is Chris Neerum, and I am so excited that you decided to work with us. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, Joanna, and Matt, and saying we are excited to have you with us. Our goal is to make you the best person that you can be, to be your best version of yourself. And we're going to teach you a bunch of tools and techniques that'll help you achieve that. And it's really predicated around the idea that choice is your superpower, that you have a superpower, and that superpower is choice. You see, in any situation, circumstance, or setting, you have the power to choose. You can choose how you're going to react. You can choose to focus on the negative. You can choose to focus on the positive. You can choose to complain. You can choose to look for the lessons in life. The choice is yours. That is your superpower, and that is your right to choose how you're going to respond. So that's the premise that we're going to be building on. And there's really 3 super choices that we want you to make. The first one is, what do you want? So many people in life know what they don't want. I don't want that. I don't want this kind of relationship. No, I don't want this in a boyfriend. I don't want this in a husband. I don't want my kids to do that. Well, what do you want? We can actually start with what you don't want. And we can find the opposite of that, which is, what do you want? Now, if you know already what you want, fantastic. That's your first super choice. What do you want? And our first exercise is going to be for you to write down 30 things that you want to do, be, or have. So what do you want? Your second super choice is to take action on those things that you want. What action are you going to take that's going to get you closer to your goals? What do you want? What actions are you going to take? And the last super choice you can take is taking 100% responsibility for whether that action got you closer to your goals or not. So there it is. 3 super choices. Number 1, what do you want? It all starts with that. If you don't know what you want, if you take an action, you can't tell if it's getting you closer to what you want or not. So, number 2, take action. Take an action and go, that didn't work. That's not helping me. That's not getting me closer to what I want. The third one is taking responsibility for that action. I took an action and I went, that doesn't get me closer. I wanted to go this way. Okay, I'm going this way. So you're going to take action, and then you're going to take responsibility. After college, I started working as an engineer. And I have to tell you, I don't know if I really wanted to be an engineer, but my mom and dad were like, you're so good at math and science, Chris. You should become an engineer. And I didn't know what I wanted. So I said, okay, that sounds good. I'll go to school. And, I had middle child pressure because I had an older brother and sister who didn't graduate through college. And my parents were like, you're the one, Chris. You're going to get that college degree and you're going to be an engineer. And so I went to school and I got an engineering degree. And then I went and got an engineering job. And I used to sit in my little cubicle working, and I don't know. I wasn't happy. But I was doing it because, I don't know, I didn't know what else to do. So there was a key moment, and I think a lot of people can relate to this because it probably happens to you too, is I ruptured my Achilles tendon. And why was this significant? Because I had my little cubicle, and I was lucky enough to have a little window that I could look out. Right? I ruptured my Achilles tendon, and it was on my right leg, and I had a cast all the way up to my thigh. And I couldn't drive. So somebody had to pick me up and drive me to work and then drive me home. And it was an older engineer. And when he picked me up, it was during the winter, so it was still dark. So I'd get on my crutches, I'd get in his car, and he'd drive me to work, and I'd crutch up to my desk, and I'd sit there, and I would watch the sun rise from my little cubicle. Then I'd watch the sun set. And I would get back on my crutches, and I'd get in this car and drive home. And one day while I was sitting there, I'm like, what am I doing? This is not what I want. And I said, all right, 5 years from now, let me look at what the people are doing. Is that what I want? I said, no. I said, okay, I believe the definition of integrity from Stephen Covey is to be able to sacrifice what you want now for what you want eventually. So I looked at it and I said, okay, well, am I willing to sacrifice now for 5 years down the road? And I said, no, that's not what I want. So I said, 10 years down the road, no. 20 years down the road, is that what I want to be doing? And it all came up no. So in that moment is when I said, what do I want? 6 years of college, 2 years of working, before I started thinking about what I wanted. You know what came up for me? I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I know. Engineer to stand-up comedian. Left turn, right? That's what I decided to do. Now, I don't recommend this, but this is the kind of personality I'm in. I quit my job. Most people with common sense, like engineers, would think they could keep their day job and then do their stand-up comedy. But apparently that is not the way my brain works. So I decided to quit my job. I'd saved a bunch of money, living at home with my parents, so my expenses were low, and I started doing stand-up comedy. What do you want? Don't wait for that moment. I've heard so many people talk about, I blew my knee out. It made me realize something. I got really sick, and then I realized. Think about what you want now. That is your choice. And you get to decide what that is. Nobody else does. When I was in high school, I said, well, that's what my parents wanted. But I could have in that moment said, Mom, Dad, look, I love you to death. And I understand you want me to be an engineer, but I want to play basketball. Because that's what I wanted to do at that time, but I didn't have the courage to tell my parents. So that's where I was. So right now, what I want you to do is I want you to write down 30 things that you want. That is your exercise for today. 30 things that you want to be, do, or have. So I'll give you an example. For me, I want to host Saturday Night Live. That is one of my breakthrough goals. Now that might be a little bit, like, oh God, I can't set a goal like that. Great. I also want to have solar panels and electric car. We currently have solar panels, and we're trying to figure out what electric car we're going to buy. So I want a Tesla, which are a little expensive, and I'm thinking of maybe getting a different electric car. I don't know. But those are one of the things. I want solar panels and electric car. I want to be off the grid, basically, is what I want to do. Okay? So I want you to think of things that you want to be, do, or have. 30 things. That is your first exercise. And that's really just to kind of get you warmed up, thinking about what you want. Because guess what the next thing I'm going to ask you to do? And we're going to have Joanna speak about taking action. You're going to start taking action on those 30 things. Pick 2 of them, pick 3 of them. So I'm going to take some kind of action that's going to get me closer to what I want. Remember, choice is your superpower. And we're going to teach you how to flex that choice muscle. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chris Nierim. On behalf of all my partners here, we appreciate you working with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Thank you.
That was great. It was really great. Really great. My favorite line was, you'd think anybody with common sense, like an engineer. I mean, that was hilarious. I mean, you always do a great job of making fun of yourself, but that was, it is people growing. Oh yeah, no, we thought that was crazy. And he just realized it was crazy, especially for an engineer, because everybody knows an engineer that would never do that.
Right. Exactly.
That was super, super, very good. Love it. Actually, the one that I had prepared for today, and I can do action next time, is purpose.
Well, so just so you're aware, sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're fine.
But look, we're doing them in modules.
Right.
So I just kind of put that in there to be
That's perfect.
Segue into maybe a next piece, or maybe we don't even need to do that.
No, I like it because that gives them, it's the pre-selling of the thing that they have to look forward to next. So I think that's critical. We just have to edit them together.
Right.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it's kind of good. It's like, look, it's kind of like the way I see it is we're introducing to the concept, and then we're introducing to the next follow-up, like taking action. Then we're talking a little bit about taking responsibility, and then we kind of loop back to like, now let's really clearly define, that purpose, that power, like those kind of pieces, and just keep making it like, it's like starting out with little weights. First, do something that they can work with first, and then we're going to be building them up to like, look, here's the deal. Taking 100% responsibility of everything you were experiencing in your life. It might be a little above grading. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not married to any of these pieces.
Sure.
But in what order, this is going to be the fun part of putting it together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So any other feedback?
We're doing this.
So question, any other feedback on the piece? Do you like the engineering?
I do. I think that we could do this in the next segment too, because you did a great job of telling him that you're going to have an action step in here. You're going to have homework, or you're going to have a process to go through. And maybe we do that in the written dialogue of the program too, the intro of every week. You're going to get a new exercise with a new skit that's going to help dial in one of the topics that we're studying, so that they know they're getting a new exercise every week. You said it for here, but I think certainly the way Jack's got the principles set up in the training module is there's exercise, and I think that's the engaging part. And the other thing that came to mind while you were talking about it is we need a private Facebook group for these people. So when you say, okay, from module 1, you're taking action, what was your big aha? So that we can have like an exchange of dialogue, and it'll also kind of let us know how engaging or compelling was our call to action, and did they actually do it? And we can go in there obviously and spread out. So what was the most surprising thing on your 30 list? Or, what are the top 3 things that you realized you didn't know you wanted? And that way and that'll spur people to interact with each other, and we'll get feedback on whether what we've pitched and the way we've encouraged them to do it has been successful. We can always take it down or delete a conversation or delete our post, and it'll delete all of them. So if we get like crickets, and we don't want that to look like crickets,
right,
we still can manage that. But I think that might be a good way to get people engaged.
Oh yeah.
And develop a community within themselves.
Oh yeah. I think those are a lot of key pieces. Again, it's about connection.
Right. And accountability. So if no one's checking to see if they've done this, which we don't really care, but ultimately, if they feel like they've got to report it.
Oh yeah, and I think so. So we'd like you to post on your Facebook page, also on the private Facebook page. What was your biggest aha of your first 30? Was it? Did you nail it right in the beginning, or was it the last 5 that all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, you know what I really want?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, those kind of pieces I think are what are
Mm-hmm. parts
that can engage people. So,
I agree.
all right. Like I said, I just wanted to, like, this was
that's great.
when this is really key. The first one I want to nail because it's going to set that tone for the rest of our pieces.
I agree.
And so a question for me, do you think I did a good job on the introduction, like saying, hey, we are excited?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that came to mind while you were doing that is, again, I think there's this was the intro to the first module or the first section. Mm-hmm. I think we could probably do this in like a video montage of, hey, I'm Joanna Blackstock. This is what here's why I want to be here. And it's like a 4-second, 5-second. And then Matt's, hey, this is Matt Hale and I'm a personal trainer and guru for this.
That's a great idea.
So we're introducing ourselves, but it's really short and quick. So they feel like they know who they're getting. And maybe that's in the initial pitch of the product. To know us, and here's why we're doing this with you or for you or together. Right. That way they kind of get to know us. So then when you say Joanna's going to do take action next week, they're like, oh yeah, she's action oriented. Then Matt's
she's that successful realtor. I'd love to learn some of what she's doing, right? Whatever
it is, yeah.
Right, or she has great hair. Whatever that is.
Not at 8 o'clock in the morning, but
right. No, but I mean, look, like I said, those are really good ideas. So I'm glad we took a minute there to talk about those. So would you like to?
Yeah. The other thing I thought of too while you were talking is if for some reason we don't either agree that it needs to be reshot, we can do the reshoot on our own and submit it. So maybe this one is like, okay, if we nail it and it's done, we don't need to modify it. But if we get to a place where like, after I look back on it, I really realized I missed this and this and this in the exercise. We can reshoot it on our own, send it over to whoever's editing.
Yes.
Or you guys can say, okay, here's your feedback, reshoot it with this, and then we're good to go. But that way we're making really good use of this time. So if we nail it and we want to use it, it's perfect. If we say, okay, I'm going to reshoot the last 6 minutes of that, whatever.
Well, I have to tell you, the part that got me excited was what you said about the commercial you were doing. Look.
Oh yeah, the soundbite.
We don't. I would say after hearing that, look, you don't want more than 10 to 15 minutes of these things.
No. I'm grabbing a pen.
You look at what Jack does or anyone else. We're going to set something up and we're put them to work, right? And then you set them up again. Right? So now it's Joanna speaking, it's Matt speaking, and we set them up again and we give them an action. And you can have, the way I see it is almost like three 10-minute monologues, half hour of watching stuff, or, might be half hour to an hour of video content.
Right.
And the rest of the time is them working. And all right, the last week we covered this, that field, right? We talk about it. So that's the idea. And in this way, I'm not trying to shoot an hour-long video.
Right.
We can re-edit and go, Chris, we really like that. Maybe there was a couple little places to clean up. The other thing is that we can do these, and I talk about the minimum viable product.
Exactly. And if we're real, the people will realize they're real. And we might stumble on a word. Yeah, we might need to look at some notes from time to time, but that's way more engaging than somebody that's sitting in front of a green screen, memorized a script.
Right. So I think that's the part, us being ourselves and us doing it. And like going back, like we got feedback, and we ask for people like feedback on the module. What did you like about it? What do you think could be improved? And if we get something like, I don't know, this one didn't really resonate with me, we shoot it.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think that's where the beta test of this comes in. We get 5 or 6 trusted people and ask them for the candid stuff. And then we can decide what of that is relevant to us and what really we need to change and what's like, okay, good to know for next time.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Do you want to go?
Sure.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on speaker view. I'm going to mute myself.
Hello. So we are on to the module about purpose. So we've talked about taking action. We've talked about what you want in life, but why do you want those things, and what's compelling you to take the action? There's the things we want, but all of that falls back into a feeling of purpose. Why do you get out of bed every day? What is it that makes you push through those hard parts of your workday or the challenges that come up in reaching for your dreams? What's the big picture behind it? And I've got an exercise that has been vetted, that it works beautifully, and I'm going to give you some steps. And this one is a little different than some of the other ones we've done. I'm going to actually ask you to pause in between our conversations this morning or today. So you can do this along with me, because I'm going to show you some examples along the way that might just help trigger this. Because what's your purpose in life seems like something that we're all born to figure out. And, hopefully we don't wait till we're in our final days to figure that out. So here we go. You've got your worksheets out. So what are the two things that you think are the most unique about your personality? And that's hard to judge for ourselves, but what do people tell you? I love it when we get together and we talk about this, or I love it when you've shown me how to do this project, or I love it when you've just shown up for me. What are the two things in your personality that you are most proud of, that you enjoy acting on, and that other people respond to? Hit pause for a second. Give yourself a minute to think about that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what I think a couple of my unique personality traits are. I love to inspire people, and I like to do that in a problem-solving way. So I'm a coach, and when I talk to my students during the week, we have a pretty set format, and they talk to me about what's going on, and somehow it just kind of magically appears that I start solving a problem for them or giving some ideas to solve a problem, and at the same time, there's inspiration. So inspiring problem solving are two of my personality traits that I found a way to make part of my purpose in life. So think about what yours are and give that some thought. I would imagine that the times that you're acting in those personality traits, or you're using those gifts that you have, are the times that you're getting the best feedback from individuals in your work, in your personal life, in your family, in your past, and I hope to goodness in your future, that now that you've identified those things that really light you up and help you help others, that's going to dig a little bit into helping you find your purpose. So now, moving on to that, how are you expressing those? Are you the funniest person in the room and you don't tell a joke? Are you the most inspiring person in the room and you just keep it between you and your journal? How are you interacting with others to support and inspire them and feed your soul? Now you're going, Joanna, how does this have anything to do with purpose? I'm getting there. If you are loving what you're doing, if it's the thing you would do if you didn't get paid, and most of us don't get paid to do the things that inspire us the most, but that's why we're here, show you how to move to that next step of your life based on purpose. Okay, so here's the next one. Assume the world is perfect right now. Everything is just as it should be for your family, for yourself, for your work, for your community, for your town, your country, your nation, the universe. That's a big question, I understand. But let's start with how people are treating each other. How are they interacting? For me, I love problem solving and inspiring. So I like to be around other people that are doing that. So maybe we start with the top 5 people we spend the most time with. We might not be able to change the world in an instant by our purpose, but you can change your world by putting yourself around and surrounding yourself around the people that support you in your 2 highest and best traits. And they may not be the same traits as other people, because if you've got a whole lot of people inspiring and a whole lot of people problem solving, you might not have anything to inspire or problem solve about. So find the ones that complement you. That's how you can start changing your world. Now, so I really do want you to pause right now and take a moment to write these down. What does your immediate world look like if it was perfect? Okay, so that was fun, right? And you think, oh my gosh, my world looks nothing like that. How am I ever going to make it that switch? Or how is that even possible? But think about this. How did it feel to imagine it for just a minute? And I'm sure there's a time in your life that you can go back to Maybe it was in college when you were in a focus group or doing a team project and everybody was in the same major and excited about the same issue that they were working on together. Or maybe it was a time in your family where you had been on vacation or you made a staycation and you took all the electronics and turned them off. And you made dinner together as a family and you did the things that you didn't do on a normal basis. But in your moment for right now, that was a perfect world. We can recreate all those. We do not have to be passive in this life and reactive. We are creators. We're designed to be creators. So if you're clear on your passion and your purposes and your own strengths and pursuing those, you're going to slowly but surely work on this perfect world, one thing at a time. And remember from that exercise, how fun would your life be if it really looked like that? Guess what? It can. If you're making a conscious effort to make those changes every day, shed the extra stuff. Quit doing the things that don't light you up. Quit doing the things that don't inspire you. Quit doing the things that are dragging you down and putting you in the direction of a different kind of world other than the one you just dreamed up. And redirect. I love compasses. And I sleep with one by my bed, and I have since 2009. I bought it in New Orleans. I was on a business trip, and I just love the mystique and mystery of New Orleans. And it's a very spiritual place for me, even though it's also a little dark at times. But I just felt so inspired on that business trip because I was with some really great people, and I thought, I don't exactly know where I'm going, but I think if I can think of being in charge of my own compass and just going to the next right place, taking the next right step to get to that perfect world that we just did that exercise for, everything's going to work out just fine. There's going to be detours, but you know what? I know where my compass is. I know where that purpose is. And I can ask myself, if I'm walking down the street and I'm getting ready to correct my path, is this going in the direction of my purpose? Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this exercise and go and revisit it a time or two, because I promise there's more than 2 things that you're really good at and that people enjoy about you. Start adding to that list as you go through this module and these practices and start creating that perfect world. That's a cut.
I liked it. Okay. Let me go back to my other view here.
Yeah, me too.
There were some things that you did that I just absolutely love. Just letting you know.
I love the reaction. I do. I mean, it is the one thing I was going to go backtrack and say, they'd be fun to do this if we had to do a separate cut. But watching your reaction is like us watching the audience. I'm like, ooh, whatever that was, it was good. Let's stay on that. Yeah. But if you were like sitting back in your chair doing this, I would have been like, oh, I need to perk it up a little bit. So I want to take back the idea of re-recording anything, because that feedback visually for me as a speaker is critical. I loved it.
Okay. And maybe the part of this thing is since we're recording these things is we have the 3 people on, we have us on the side, and we're like, oh, and you see us like, oh yeah. Maybe
so, because that does create some sense of community. So if someone's sitting at home and they're trying to engage with a computer.
Right.
If I was watching this and it was reversed and Matt got real excited and he started taking notes, or he went like this, or he laughed at something, I might go, oh, what did I miss? And rewind. So anyway, I'm sorry. Please keep going with your feedback.
No. I think these are kind of things. So these are ideas that we should play with, right?
The ahas, I like the feedback visually.
Well, and there's the other piece that I was thinking about was unpacking. Like once we hear it, and then someone saying like we giving feedback, but on the positive side, like, gosh, you know what I got out of her story was that when she talked about feeding your soul, boy, God, can you relate to that? I mean, there's stuff that like us unpacking the stories just a little bit.
I like that.
And then it's the community things. Like I'm engaged. I'm telling what resonated with me in the story, and that makes people go, well, what resonated with me with the story, right? So there's an idea there. So here we go. One, in my opinion, it took you a little while to get warmed up.
Yes.
All right. So at the end,
I need to tell a story first.
You started smiling, and it just changed everything. And I put down smile more.
Okay.
When you do that, I was just like, oh, and that was drawing me in. So what I would suggest is, in general, is you move your story up.
Okay.
Because that's
where we connect. Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I'm connecting. So even that short story about the compass, and like here, and then, so you think again. So this is the way I look at things when I structure a speech. It's like it's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and everything has a bookend. So start with the compass piece,
and then
come back to it. Think of your compass. I encourage you to take your steps and go, am I going the right direction? Play with that a little bit, because that story in the beginning and then ending with just a little bit at the end puts the whole thing together, right?
Got it.
And it was a great story, like, New Orleans could be a little dark, but I love it. I get this out of it, right? And maybe there's for me, I might have impacted things. What I love is that when she's in New Orleans, there's some dark pieces, but she found the positive in there. And that's a story for everybody to learn. Like, you can go somewhere and go, oh boy, this is, like sometimes I go to Las Vegas and I go, and I can only be there about 3 days, because after 3 days I start seeing all the things that I'm like, there's some stuff here that I don't want to do.
Behind the curtain. Uh-huh.
It's behind the curtain. But going to the shows, and my wife likes to play the video nuts and, all those kind of weird things, like that kind of piece. But I focus on with the positives. Like, okay, here it is. And not that I'm, glossing over saying that isn't something. It's just when I'm on vacation, it's not something I necessarily want to fix, right? I'm like, I choose to focus on these positive things. So those are the pieces. So I love it. How are you expressing that? I thought that was a great phraseology. How are you feeding your soul? And there was something you did, and I want you to go back, is you did an eye roll. Like, I know, Joanna, and you're like, like you did this eye roll. Those are the things that pull me in. I don't know if you do any voices, but that would be a perfect time to do a voice. Like,
okay.
Like whatever that voice is, like, if you do them. If you don't worry about it. But the eye roll was like, I was like, like, people like that one, I really pulled me in. And how are they interacting? The other piece that I really liked was, you can change your world. Oh, that was beautiful. It really was beautiful. You might not be able to change all this stuff, but you can change your world by people you're hanging out with. That was, and that's when you started smiling. Like, I saw the smile start coming out right around then. So maybe you can move that up, because something that's going to get you excited, that whole bit there it really started pulling me in a lot more. I like your voice inflection. I think you can even do more, like, you went and then you went, and then you got quiet. I think those are really key things to making a differentiation, not only when you're speaking, but it's something I'm very conscious of when I speak. Is I go, right, and that voice inflection and changes in the way you speak help out a lot.
Agree.
And
glad it worked.
And voice, and you said something like, how fun would that be, right? Oh, that's another great thing. Fun. I want to have more fun. People want to have more fun, right? I mean, that's just, that's good stuff. And so I think, and then the compass story, I really liked. The only thing is I just thought, move it up to the beginning. Introduce the piece. We're going to do today. Let me guess. I love compasses, right? And then tell that story, and then people go, "Oh, why do you love compasses?" Because
that's weird, yeah.
They will do stories like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's very metaphorical. I like it so much," right? But that kind of stuff. So look at the smile you have on right now. That's the $1 million smile.
Thank you.
That's it. When you smile like that, man, it changes everything. And you started in the beginning, it was a little like, okay, I'm doing the thing. And then once you started getting, it's like you needed a little warm up.
Right.
And then once you got the warm up, your personality started coming out a lot more. All right. So those are my suggestions. For you, I think it's really key that you move your story up.
Okay.
Right. Because I think as soon as you start with that compass, that it was like a build to a crescendo.
Well, if that's the only thing you change, can I just go ahead and do the story again right now? And then maybe we can find a way to edit it in. Then we don't have to reshoot this one.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
Is that okay?
So why don't you do your intro? Because you had pauses, right?
Okay.
So what we could do is we'll figure it out. So let's do it again.
I'll make it quick because I don't want it to.
Now this time, I'm going to leave myself up on the screen.
Yes, okay. I could actually see you last time.
Oh, you could.
Oh, you're going to do it from the way you're recording it. I see.
So the way I'm recording it, though, is I'm going to leave it on, because what I had done is I had hidden it.
Got it.
Right? So I got to mute myself so I'm not, so it's focused on you.
Hi, I'm Joanna Blackstock, and the module we're doing today is about purpose. We can take action. We know what we want, but why is all that happening? What's driving it? So let me tell you a little story. I have a minor obsession with compasses. I love them. I think they're pretty. I think they're interesting. I have a traveler spirit and an adventurer soul. And when I was in New Orleans a few years ago, I picked up one. And ever since then, it's been sitting by my bed. I sleep with it right next to my head. You know, there's probably some electromagnetic problem with that. But I love this because when I wake up in the morning or when I'm going to bed at night, I'm thinking about, where am I going? Am I on track? Am I moving in the right direction? And this just reminds me how that works. So let's get into the content today and let's talk about our purpose. You're still on mute. I can't hear you. There we go. Did that work?
Again, so you look at that. So the way you say, you unpack that better this time, okay. Right? You said, it tells me it does this, it does that. This is why I have it. Am I on course? I think this is why we're doing this. We're gonna get these things nailed down, and they're going to be things that we can use in our events. We're gonna have our modules for them. I think you have that was a much stronger start for me. I'd like to get feedback from Matt and see what he thinks about it. But I think now my challenge is figuring out how to edit this stuff. So
I know we need somebody that does that, because when somebody that knows what they're doing does this, it's easy for them, it's faster, and it's magical.
So I'll look into. I think we have some Angie's who she works with might have a video editor for us.
And my assistant does too. I mean, he's really good at this. So maybe we give him one to try and just see how he does once we have, and maybe I give him mine, because then he shouldn't charge me for this, because it's, he's kind of already working with me. So maybe I send him this one and say, how would you edit this together to be, after I've looked at it and given him some feedback, and just see what he comes up with. Because he's already on my payroll to some degree. And, what to put together the whole thing. But he's done, most of what I've done, had him do were pictures with voiceovers. But we could just try it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no. Look.
At least as our trial and error. And then when we have the final version, if we need to pay somebody to pull it, we will need to pay somebody to pull it together, but.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to have to, get the website together. We're going to have to, get the modules together. But these things now are it's not like it's 10, 20 years ago where you're reinventing it. These are things that people can plug in, video content, sign in, this is not something that has to be reinvented from the beginning. Look, one, thank you. I appreciate you, getting your piece together here. I really thought that was a strong purpose. I like the pausing. I forgot to say that. The way that you pause. So now I want you to pause. And then you took a good moment, and that'll allow it to pause and edit. And okay, we're back. Right? So maybe we'll have to think about those little nuances later. Okay, we're back. Now, you've written down your thing. What are you going to do? So it's fun to watch this. So I'm really glad you did one that had pauses in it, that had people, I want you to do that now. No, I mean right now. Pause the video. I was just
trying to follow the model, Jack's model for teaching, because I could talk all day long.
No, look, but that was good for me to see. Right?
Okay.
'Cause I was thinking it at the end, but I think like that intro one's like, I actually want you to write down right now, pause this video, and I want you to take a piece of paper. If you don't have a pencil, go get it and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And write down one. And then you're going to fill out the list of 30. If you don't have your workbook, I expect you to next time, bring your workbook with you, people. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the kind of things that we should have, is we have the workbook. We're on workbook page 1. If you don't have it, go get it.
That's where we're going to get them engaged. That's how we're going to get them through the full 7 weeks, and they haven't just watched one and go, oh yeah, I haven't done my homework, I'm not going to go back to it.
Yeah.
Because I think that our audience is a lot like we are. They're busy, active people that are pushing themselves to do that one more thing. And incorporating it might help them stay engaged.
Yeah. Well, like I said, these are the things we want to work on. Like, what's going to get people like, stop, do it now. Because one of the things that was a real advantage of what you did is like do that now, not later, not do this kind of thing. Do an action now. Because that's one of the things I found out with myself, to your point, was with Jack Canfield stuff like, oh, that's a great idea, I'll do that.
And it's in the back of the workbook on the aha moments, and you haven't looked at it since February 2016.
I do not relate to that at all. I do not know what you're talking about. I don't relate to that at all. All right. Look, Joanna, I just want to say, look, I appreciate you. I appreciate your, all the work that you've done on this. I really do. I'm so glad that you're working with me on this, and I think it's really going to, I know it's really going to work out for us, because I just feel it.
I'm excited that we've been taking action, but this is like, okay, let's just jump off the deep end. Let's do this. So I appreciate you leading that charge and saying, okay, this has all been awesome concepts. Let's get on it.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's all upside.
Oh yeah. Well, and we've all gotten to practice the things that we were already doing in real life. Mm-hmm. And I'm more confident if someone calls me tomorrow and says, come do a Rotary speech. I mean, I've always said yes, but now I know, I've got 7 things to choose from that have been vetted with people that I trust their opinion on.
Right. So it's like you could do those things and get people, you just feel much more confident in your speaking with people. Like, you want me to I can do 10 minutes right now. Let me go. Right. I mean, that's what we want to get to. All right.
Thank you.
Again, I'll get this out on YouTube.
Okay. Could you email me the link, because I have signed into every single one of my computers again, and I just I'm having to start from scratch on all of it. So
I'll send out the notes just to go over just real quickly here.
Yeah, of course.
One of the things I would like to do is 3 places to shoot from. Like,
yes.
Get an idea of, and sit down. Are you going to sit, stand? Create the private Facebook group. 4-second montage to get to know us. Maybe that'll be in our marketing piece. Do the beta test, and get our feedback. Like, get the feedback. Like after you're done speaking
on the screen. Feedback from the deal. Okay, yeah.
Feedback from let's say module. Other 2 or 3 people. So what we do is we don't go into the stuff the other stuff. What we'll do is do the positive stuff up front. Like, this is what worked well for me. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
And then we'll pause it and go, okay,
off screen, fix this.
Here's the things that I thought you could do, but let's get those pieces together, right? And we can do that one. So we can do that, and then like I'd do like, what really resonated with me was this, and then Matt can do a quick thing like this. What really resonated with me? God, I love that. See those kind of things.
Sure.
And then get a video editor, and then Joanna, you might have somebody. And then ask. I'm going to put it on YouTube, but if we might have to create a file share, because they might need the raw, because then I'm going to be uploading it to YouTube. YouTube will take a video content down.
Okay.
So we'll have to see if this file format works well for the video editor.
Okay.
And we'll see how that goes. So those are kind of the action items. Again, I'll end with my appreciation. Great job this morning. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I appreciate, I kind of already said it, just let's start something, and it may end up different than where we started, but I just appreciate you moving this to the next step. And I cannot tell you how energized I feel after this hour in the morning. Even last week, Matt and I just kind of chit-chatting. It's like, oh man, if I could start every day like this.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the nice thing.
Why can't I? It's my world to create.
That's right. It's your choice, right? Well, this is the idea of them being, again, I liking these ideas of 10 to 15 minute segments, because man, I just want to go review that thing. I need to talk about my compass. Where is it? Joanna, there it is. I want to talk about my compass. Or, hey, I want to talk about, making that big decision or move in your life.
Well, I think that when we do this, the video part might be the short part, but we get them real deep in the workbook content. And maybe there is like a little instructional section for each, work. So at the end of this, I go, okay, now here's your real homework. We talked about finding your 2 items of inspiration. We talked about finding this, but I want this, and this. So maybe there is a voiceover or a video explanation of what the homework is, so that, they don't look at it and go, oh, that's overwhelming. Because I think the value is going to be in the things that we don't see as presenters. And that's where I think we're going to get the repeat followers and people going, hey, I just did this video series. You would love it. It's foolproof. It's easy to follow, versus what I've always done when I buy a download or watch a webinar of just, okay, that was interesting, and forget about it. So I'm sorry, we were going to gratitude to try to wrap this up.
No. Look, when you had an inspired thought, and when you have inspired thoughts, it's better to get it out, especially now we have a video of it. But I like that, the video explanation.
I just want everybody that sees this to share it with 5 people and like truly say, this is the best thing I've done in a long time, or it's great, it's different, do it.
Yeah, because I haven't seen this format before. It's a lot of it's individual me. I'm doing this, my voice, this kind of thing, which isn't bad. But I like the idea of, and I even like the idea of saying, okay, guess what? Great job, Joanna. Like we could do it as a great job, Joanna. Now we're going to talk about the homework. I'm going to be explaining the homework here. I have a couple and it could be a very technical. Right? It's less story. This is how you do this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I learned this from working with Brian. Is we both had been doing this on our own, but as soon as we did it on the same stage, the engagement level went so far up because people would hear one of us better than the other. We would banter back and forth. And I know we're not really cross communicating in this all that much until the feedback section, but it's just so much more interesting to have more than one person to listen to. And for us, we're all kind of in the same boat. It's not like Jack's bringing on a guest. We are all kind of on the same level, have a similar skill set. So it's not like, oh, that person's on.
Yeah, look, my whole thought process going through this was, I have no problem. I would have no problem because I've done it before of doing 2 days, 3 days, 4 days of training. I've done it myself.
Sure.
But what I know is that people will hear my voice differently than they'll hear yours. Your piece about the compass might just be the thing that hits somebody. Your piece about when you were saying, the phraseology is going to change your world might be just what that person needed to hear. And they wouldn't have gotten that from me because I come in from a different perspective, or I use different phraseology. You just don't know what's going to resonate with people. And I like the idea, I've always been a kind of a team guy anyway. So I'm building a team together that are like-minded and we're working towards a goal. I got goosebumps. I know where to go.
Oh, yay. I love when that happens.
The truth bumps, right? I've got more goosebumps in the last year than in my entire life.
Me too. I like truth bumps. I'm going to call them that.
That's like the truth. Because then I know that whatever I'm saying, it's like to me, that's my subconscious going, yeah.
It's a physiological reaction. Yeah. Don't miss that. You're right.
Right. So that's what it is, right? That's the part that's interesting. And I think, maybe even us having a round table, like this kind of thing. All right, guys, we'd want to talk to you about, and we have a round table like every third week or
maybe we even put it as a Facebook Live in the Facebook private group. So they actually have to go to the group to see it.
I not just a hat rack for you there, young lady. Yes. But it's a round table in Facebook. So I'm writing these things down so I can put them in our.
And it'll save in the video section. So if someone's jumping into this and they're not at the same pace as the group, it's still timely.
Yeah. Yeah. We can talk about that. All right, guys, we're going to have a little discussion here about knowing your purpose and the clarity and deciding what you want. This is going to be our conversations. What are the things that are key for you or resonate with you? And then us talking to one another and also us learning that. That is a skill set. And we can have a guest speaker. We also have with us guest speakers, I have to tell you, on the news programs, they go bananas with those, they've got 12 people all talking about the same,
right.
They got the talking heads, as they say. So, the talking heads are always about complaining about something. So this would be kind of interesting to get that. So this is where we could bring in other people to the group and say, hey, we'd like to interview you as a group, like talk to you about this and, bring in other perspectives. So, I'm thinking my friend is a professional football player.
Sure.
Very different perspective.
Right? And they don't have to have been through the module. They don't have to have seen what we've seen because they're familiar with the concept of purpose or future or action or choice, any of it. And we know about 300 other people that would be just fine on screen to have a conversation with outside of our friends and, other influencers. So yeah, we've got a huge opportunity for that.
Well, yeah. And people always like to be like learning an interviewing skill is a really handy thing to have. Right. So it's a good one to work on. All right. I love it. Well,
and anybody that we would invite in, I think there's a huge audience that we have access to of people that are also promoting their speaking. And whenever I see this in the coaching world with podcasts, whenever one coach has another coach on, it's like, oh, I just got more credibility because I was interviewed by this person. So, even the people within our organization that are trying to boost their business, hey, the Keynote Krushers, which I know we'll call ourselves something different, have interviewed me today, and we talked about purpose. Like I see that being kind of a progressive opportunity. So I could talk about this all day. I know we need to go, but
I know. Look, me too. I could do the same thing, but it's look. I encourage you on these ones. Is look, you have a great smile. There's no two ways about it. You have a great smile, and when you smile like you're doing. I would like to see that more in your presentations.
I'll just put it on my screen. Smile more.
Right. I mean, serious, because when you do that, and you're like, and you're excited. You're like, oh, you get excited, and you get pulled. It pulls you in. I mean, I know I'm a little over the top for some people, but that's me.
Oh, I don't.
Right, but that's me.
Whoever's doing this is doing it because they're wanting more, and to see someone actually give more and be more and think, oh my gosh, I could never do that on stage, or I could never do that on video, or hey, this guy's just being real and this is who he really is. Like when they meet us in person and come to a presentation and go, oh no, Chris really is a comedian. No, really he is. And he really does do those faces, and he really wait till you see his body move.
But those are the things, is like, this is who, like for me, that's who I am. And that will resonate with people, and who you are will resonate, and who Matt is will resonate with people. And, and like I said, I don't want to drag anybody kicking and screaming into this thing. I want people who are serious about it, which is why, just to loop back, the Keynote Mastermind group, I think could be a potential vetting process for us. Look, you join our group, we're going to help you get better, but also we're looking for people for us to interview, for us people to bring in, maybe talk about their story and their content, and bring it into Orbit. And I
think the next thing we need to do when the three of us are together is just set that intention and set that date for our first big live event.
Yeah.
And let that be one of the purposes that drives us in this, so that we know in such and such date, 2018, we're booking this venue for this amount of time. We're going to have these sponsors, just so that we're all kind of getting, because I think as we engage other people that are speakers, that is a huge link to, and we're planning this big event, and we are wanting our favorite guests from our webinar or whatever we're calling this webinar, to join us.
Right. Well, but see, and this is the piece though. By us doing this virtually right now, this is going to be how this helps us on stage, in my opinion.
Completely.
So what's going to happen is if we do all the pieces that we're talking about, so you do that module. So next time what I'll do is, I think, look, just put something together. I know Matt has something together. Have something in your back pocket to just do, right? Pick one of the other pieces that, part of the modules to do. And I think every week we should come with something prepared.
Sure.
Each one of us just come with something prepared, and it can be the rough first draft. I mean, that's what I did this morning. I put in and said, like, if I'm going to do this, how would I want to do this? And then we can go back and look at it better and go, okay, guys, I want to redo this one. Because I've sketched out more. I've got the marbles out of my mouth. But the interaction between us will be what we want to emulate on stage. And we're going to learn that the video actually forces you to be quiet.
Right.
Because
I don't know that I would feel any differently if I was in person with you, other than our energy, like the physical energy would be more intense because we would be like so excited. Yeah. But I think that this is creating a natural chemistry for the three of us so that when we are on stage together, and if we ever did like an interview process, I'd be like, you know what, Matt has the best thing to say about this. Would you tell that story about the thing? And it is brilliant already. I'm excited to see what it looks like in person.
Yeah, we're gonna crush this thing. There's no two ways about it. We're gonna crush it. I mean, I can see it. I can see it all coming together. And like I said, my vision has always been that I always pictured that, the Now You See Me, that movie, The Magicians. So the people are, and that's the way I could see it coming together because people like the different personalities. It's just all right.
Have a great weekend.
We can talk all morning.
I know we could. Well, you have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right. I'll make sure I send you the link, and I'll put kind of the notes together. I'll ask Matt to go over this when he sobers up. Matt, if you listened all the way to the end there. That was
We're jealous, actually.
Well, no, I'm going on an AIP diet.
What is that?
It is essentially
alcohol peanuts.
It is no. What it is basically like a cleanse in a diet. I want to say it's an elimination diet. So it's lean meats, vegetables, limited amount of fruit for 30 days. And then introducing other foods to see what you're allergic to.
Okay.
But the stuff that's restricted on, like no nuts, no seeds. Right? You can't have like mustard because mustard is a seed. So I mean, I've been doing about 3 days. I've lost 5 pounds.
Have you? Maybe I need to look into this because I just got asked by a photographer I work with to do a Wonder Woman shoot on Friday. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how do I get my arms leaned up? How do I get my face not puffy? But I'm sure getting sugar out of it. And
well, that's the thing that keeps coming up. It's sugar. It's limiting. My wife and I have been inspired by this woman who's like in her 80s and is a bodybuilder. And I'm like, look, that can be your life.
Yeah. What's the name? AIP is the name of the.
Hang on, let me. I get the notes. Let me just grab it here real quick.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to stop the recording just because it'll take me forever to download it. Right. So